All right, welcome to this video about making a small website using Parcel. So we're going to get right into it. So first, we just want to start our project. So I'm going to go ahead and open a terminal, bring it over, and we're going to go to our documents, and we're going to do awesome website. And then we're just going to open awesome website, and we'll just work from VS Code from here on out. Might be a little too big.
It looks all right.
Yeah, got too big of a screen here, but that's fine. Yeah, so let's go ahead and open a new terminal here. And we want to create a few files here just to get our website started. You know, our index.html file. We want to create a CSS file, and we want to create a JS file as well. So let's go ahead and just fill these in. I pre-filled these in so we don't have to type all this out. But it's just basic HTML. So
we'll have a link to the code in the notes. Sure.
Yeah, it'll all be up on GitHub for you. So if you want to just grab it, it should be easy for you to do that.
It's like the standard HTML file that you can grab from like MDN or something like that.
Exactly. So the only things that we've added is a reference to our main CSS file and then our main JS file, which we've put in the body to optimize where it's loaded. So we'll just go ahead and save that. Our CSS file going to be super simple. Just give our h1 tag a little color. And then our JS file, just so we know that it's working and that our JavaScript is loading, we're just going to log real quick. All right, so now if we actually open this up, if we do open index.html, and I bring this over, you can see that we have a website. We have hello from HTML in magenta because we have our CSS there. And we have hello from JavaScript in our console.
It's
so
pretty,
everything's
and it's
loading.
Fast. Server side.
I know.
It's
We're done.
On the Lighthouse score.
Done right. Yeah. I mean, if we pull up Lighthouse, well, can't audit it because it's not running it's running locally right now.
Right.
But
100%.
Exactly. There's complete 100% performance because we're just loading one tag, one CSS file, one JS file.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so this, if we wanted to stop here, we do technically have a website. We could deploy this and everybody could see that we have hello from HTML. But we want to take this one step further, and we want to use Parcel. We want to use all these other cool things. We want to use somebody else's library that they put a lot of work into, and we want to do something like show a date in our HTML. So the way that we can do that is by importing somebody's library. Luckily, we know a really cool library called Moment, and it's hosted with NPM, which is NPM is the Node package manager, and it's not just for Node though. We can use it in a website like this if we bundle the code with Parcel, which we'll get to here in a minute. But first, we need to do npm init to initialize this repository. And we'll just do that. We'll do -y so it just logs everything for us. And you can see this is our package.json file with just all the defaults in. So then we're going to go ahead and install Moment. I'll just take a second. Now we have a dependency of Moment. And we can just go ahead and come back into our HTML. And we can add this script tag. Let's actually type it out. So we want to do it before main.js.
Because it's a dependency.
Because it's a dependency and we want to use it in main.js. So we have to define that.
Yeah, so we have load moment first, yeah.
Exactly. And so here I'm just saying node modules, which is the folder that is created with npm. And you can actually see that moment is right there. But we want the minified version as well. So we do moment / min.
So we can keep that score.
What's that?
So we can keep that White House score.
Exactly. And so that's, you want to use a minified JS file for performance. So we'll do a little, gotta close our script tag, everybody. There you go. And I have a few auto formatting and auto completion things. So you see that I just close my script tag. I have a plugin that adds the end of the script tag for me. So now we are loading moment into our HTML before our main.js file, which means we can jump in to our main.js file and start using moment. So let's take out this log. What we're going to do here, and let's see what we're doing here. So we're going to define a constant of now, because we want to get the date right now, right when we load the page. And that's something that moment can do. So all you do is call moment, and then you can do format. And then if you specify, this takes in a string, and you can specify some sort of format to go in here. And moment's usually for, or one thing it's used for is human readable formats of dates. So right here, we want the month, the date, and the year, as well as the hour, minutes, seconds. And we'll take a look at what this looks like here in a second. And so right now, let's just go ahead and log it. And so what this is doing is taking the global variable moment and then running the format function on it to get us now, which is just going to be a string.
And that global variable gets set because we imported the moment file. So the browser is going to go ahead and just attach that to the window object. So
exactly. And so that is the way when you load things in with a script tag here, you have to access things globally because that's how it's set up. So let's go back to our HTML. Let's go ahead and hit it with a reload. And we'll take a look at our console. And so this is the day and the time that we're recording this. And if we refresh it every single time, you can see that the seconds are bouncing up. So now we are using somebody else's library in our website, and we're printing the date. And so great, you can do this. Once again, you could stop right here. You've got a website. It's going to be pretty performant, and you can start deploying it right here. But when we look at this, we're starting to think about, okay, if I'm referring to moment from node modules here, say I forget to add it in my HTML, or what happens a lot is that we don't have our scripts in the correct order.
Right.
And so if we run this again now, we know that we have to load moment before our main.js file or any file that is referring to moment, because it has to refer to moment. That we have to define moment as a global variable, and that only happens if we have scripts.
Right, the browser's going to load them in order. So
exactly. And so that's one issue. There's some other issues that can come up, maybe just forgetting it, maybe if you have a ton of node modules that you're adding in here.
Or just typing that long URL sucks too.
Or just typing it in. This is also, yeah, so knowing what you're looking for, if you didn't know to use the minified version, you could just come in here and do that, and your performance is going to get hit. So lots of things here. We want to start, this is where we start looking for an alternative. So what else can we do? Well, now here comes in bundlers. So a popular bundler is Webpack. We're going to be using Parcel, but all a bundler does is bundles your code, takes all your code, puts it together so it's ready to deploy. We want that because we don't want to refer to the moment.min.js. We don't want to have to handle this script tag right here. And if we add anything else, like assets, other CSS files, we want all those bundled together and managed by something like Webpack or Parcel. So when we deploy, everything's deployed. We don't have to worry about missing references to any files.
And we don't have to deploy the whole node modules folder. We can just deploy the files that we need.
Right, that's a very good point. We're going to want to ignore the node modules file or folder because it's got a lot of files in there that we don't need. We want those merged. Once again, we want to keep that Lighthouse score really high. I mean, yeah, this video could be how to keep your Lighthouse score very high for a small website.
Yeah.
So let's first look at removing this script tag. So if we just go ahead and remove it, obviously we don't have moment in the browser. The browser's not going to load moment. It's not going to allow it to be used in main.js. But let's just real quick look at what bundling to use the module would look like in our code before we move into actually implementing that. So when you have some sort of package, you can use the require syntax to actually require the package in your JS file. And that just looks like this. So instead of letting the browser load moment, we're saying explicitly load moment, store it in this variable right here, using a require statement, load moment.
Right, but the browser doesn't know how to do this.
The browser doesn't know how to do this, doesn't know how to handle modules. Because this is a node thing that it has to be. It's very tricky to load things in the browser, so we've kind of built all these workarounds. So this is, you've probably seen this at Node if you're taking a look at Node. This is the same syntax that we're going to be using here because we're going to use a bundler. And once again, this will not work because we have not started to bundle our code yet. So let's see what that looks like. Same thing, but we still get a reference error, but it's because require is not defined because the browser doesn't know what this is.
Doesn't know what the keyword is, yeah.
Doesn't know what the keyword is. So what do? We reach for a bundler. You could use Webpack. You could use one of the newer things, which is Parcel. And the reason we're going to be using Parcel in this tutorial is because Parcel handles a lot of this for you. And it's fast, which is a very big thing with this, is it's a lot faster than other tools that we've used before. Okay, so how do we get Parcel into our repo? All we need to do is install it with npm, and it's Parcel bundler. And then it's going to be a dev dependency, so we only need this when we're developing or deploying. So we use the option save dev. Okay, so after all this, we just went ahead and installed the Parcel package or Parcel bundler. And we see that's in dev dependencies, which means that it's going to be excluded when we deploy. So before we go any further, let's go ahead and add, or let's see what this is, and then we'll add some scripts to do this a little easier. So all you have to do for Parcel is use keyword Parcel, and then point it at your entry point. So you can use JS files as your entry point too, but we're just going to use HTML. And there's a link in the show notes for everything that Parcel does and some of the commands that come with Parcel as well. So Parcel came together here. It's going to bundle all our code together, start a server, and then allow us to access our code from that server.
And we can see that it created a dist file.
Yes.
So it probably bundled everything together for us there.
Exactly. And so when we get to deploying it another time, it'll be one of our scripts that we add in here. So same as our local file, hello from HTML. But we'll see in our console that we are logging the date with our require statement. All right, so now we have Parcel working. We have a server running with our code. Let's just clean this up a little bit because we want to use npm scripts. If there's anything extra we need to do when we build or deploy, we'll handle it in the scripts. So let's just create a script called dev right now, and it'll be just the same that we did right here, which is just parcel, and then it is the entry point for the application. Then we'll go ahead and create a build, and we'll do parcel build, which does the dist folder as well. They recommend using build. We can kind of go into the differences between just saying parcel index.html and parcel build. The main one is that it's not going to create a server for you to develop locally. It's just going to build the dist folder.
Yeah, and it'll optimize it, right? So
correct. Yeah. Okay, so now that we have both these in here, we can see that we can do npm run dev, and that's going to go ahead and do the same thing that we just did before, because it's just running this parcel index.html
command.
And then we can do build just for levity's sake. And you'll see that it has built all of our code and put it in our dist folder. And that's all it's done. It hasn't created a server so we can access it.
Great. And we can just push these static files in the dist folder to something like Netlify. And we got a website hosted with Moment.
Exactly. Yeah. So, it doesn't do much right now, but you see all the possibilities here. And yeah, it's just a website. It's going to be using Moment. And there's a ton of other stuff that we could do with this. Go check out Parcel. But right now we have our tiny little website that does just something basic. And if you don't want to be reaching for some large front-end framework, you just want something small out of the box, or even just a testing ground to do something, this is what you want to reach for. This is this little base project to reach for. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Remember to check out the links in the show notes about where to find this code, Parcel, anything else we talked about today. Remember to ask some questions in the comments below. We'll get back to you. And check out one of our other videos, as well as another video coming for actually deploying this website.